Welcome back to Straight Talk. When we broke, we were discussing a meeting taking place today with one of the representatives, group of businessmen who've started something called the Owista Lottery. Peter Paul, a former Mohawk councillor, is meeting with the Grand Chief today. I don't know if they've already met. We'll know about that a little bit more. We'll be following that here on Straight Talk in the weeks to come.
There's a lot of things I would like to say and cover on that, but I want to wait. To be fair to everybody, not to council, but to be fair to what's
All
going on.
All parties involved.
Yeah, because I have a lot of disagreements with this and I have a lot of concern, but I'd like to see what Peter Paul and his group have to say on it before
Things
make
need to
any
transpire
comment. Yeah.
before we can actually give a a good opinion.
I'm just
as to
surprised
what-
right now that Mohawk Council didn't try to stop it right away, and we're still in this process, but that comes to the same thing now. Is because of that, it's another gaming issue.
Well, this is
The
actually
decision.
the decision is based on the ABC side of it,
Okay,
and not the gaming thing.
Okay, give a little bit of
Yeah,
background. A little bit of background.
the-
Now we're moving into another story related, but
Okay.
not that much.
Yeah, but there was an arbitration board or a panel that it's an outgrowth of the ABC law.
And it has nothing to do with Peter Paul and
Nothing to do with
that
the Peter
gaming.
Pan.
No.
This had to do with
Snakes Poker.
Snakes Poker Room had applied back in 2008 for a permit, and they applied for a permit.
Bar and
A
restaurant.
bar and restaurant.
To serve
Bar and
alcohol.
restaurant, and they were denied on the basis of it being a poker room.
I sat on that board for about 10 years,
The ABC board.
the ABC board, and I spoke to them a few times on this. Some of this issue had come up before about not accepting applications or denying them. And then the first time it happened, it was with Manny's, and I told the board at the time not to refuse it, and let's see how things are going to progress first. And then they decided to do it. I wasn't there anyway when they done it. They decided not to do it. That was the first time that anything's ever gone to arbitration and it was overturned. I didn't agree with the whole process, and regardless, it was overturned. This issue had come up when the gaming law was being done. The gaming law was being done, and I met with one of the council chiefs who was heading up this gaming law, and he had asked me at the time, because I was chairing the ABC board, what was our position on alcohol and gaming establishments. And I told him that in your law, as it reads now, that you say that you can't have alcohol in it. So if you're going to leave that in there, it excludes the ABC board 100%. There's nothing that the ABC board can do because you're writing it into law. If you take it out, then you'll put it back into the hands of the ABC board, and then we'll decide whenever that happens. I don't think that was ever done, and as a result of that, that's where we are today. The board should never, in my opinion, unless it was changed that I don't know about, should never have even entertained that idea at all. Even though somebody put a bar and a restaurant permit on it, they know it's Snakes Poker Room, and there's no provisions at all because one law says you can't, the other one is silent. So they should have just taken it and say, I'm sorry, right now, it's going to have to go back to the Gaming Commission, and there's got to be a decision there. I cannot give you one.
But what you were mentioning, that the same bias that I was talking about a while ago, about how they know it's a poker room, but the way the law is that they applied through a restaurant and bar permit, they shouldn't know that it's a poker room.
Well, they should. They should, because it's in the same community. But what I'm saying is they should have just washed their hands with it and said that, look, I can't. You're conducting that in there until I can get direction in regards to what law is what law. Don't make a decision at all. By making a decision, they put themselves in a position
To be open
to be overturned 100%.
Yeah.
So they did it
No,
to
I see
themselves
that, yeah.
by doing it. They should have, like I said, they should have just said, nope, I'm sorry, I can't.
We
because-
cannot render a decision at this time.
And based on these
Well,
reasons.
what you're pointing at, Mike, what you're talking about is what they said, is that one of the problems with the decision that was rendered by the board, the ABC board, in denying them, was that they never told them why.
Exactly, and then that's
They didn't
another
tell them
thing.
why. They just said, well, you were denied.
Yeah.
And apparently there was a survey that was apparently they were looking at doing, or they did. They never posted it in the Eastern Door. So a lot of the stuff here, look at, you have something about inconsistency of law going on here. You have a gaming law that's drafted, and they say, well, no alcohol in gaming facilities. And then you have the ABC guys, and they're saying there's nothing in there, so we can't address it.
But you know what? But I think that the arbitrators, knowing that fact, because they should have read the gaming law that says that you're not allowed to have alcohol, and the ABC law, and notice those inconsistencies and say that in there. And them not making a decision at all, or either by overturning them and giving them a permit for a bar or that, it opens the door for everybody else. It excludes the gaming law. It cuts that out. And I told Mike Bush this when I met with him. I said, if you leave it in there, it's going to be problems in the future, because alcohol in poker establishments or any other gaming area, they go together, and there's going to be a problem. People are not going. They're going to do it anyway. So what do? One law says yes, the other one says no. Now, does that leave them open to the police going there and saying that you're not allowed to do that? What about the enforcement part? That's where now it's going to come in. Now, what law does the police follow? Do they follow the gaming law? Are they going to follow this? So you know what I mean?
But it should be concurrent. You know, like I think that the ABC board should not even have accepted the application in the first place because of a concurrent law that says that there's no alcohol allowed in the gaming. And if that's the case, then make an amendment and change that law.
One of the issues, though, in this, if you read the thing, is that you're talking about there are two incumbents on that board. One was Lionel Jacobs, who's the chair of that board, and the co-chair, which is Mark Goodleaf.
And the rest of them, Lionel knows 100%. When he sat on that board with me, he wanted to do some of these. I told him not to. Don't do it, and I'll say it because I was there. It's in the minutes. But don't touch that.
But nobody on the board. I mean, the interviews that were conducted with the people who were on the board, nobody seems to know about what this is.
Nobody
what that
seems
is.
to know, but they should.
Exactly.
Okay, so
That's
we're
what I'm
talking
saying.
we're talking about issues of competency.
Well,
No, but it's there.
I wouldn't
It's
go.
there.
I wouldn't go that far
No,
into saying that. But I would say is that.
Well, no.
I think that they need to know more or to
They need
read.
to get their act together.
Well, you need to know the law. You need to know what the law is.
When I say competency, I'm not throwing a brick here. What I'm saying is that obviously there's an issue of board training in terms of this here. We have people on the board who are basing, and that's one of the things I said. They base it on opinion.
Yeah,
I've done a lot of research. One person says, "Oh, we didn't need to do this here. We get it. We know on the street what
On
people
the street,
feel about
word
it.
on the street is.
We know about
And
it.
you can't do that. And that was some of
Can't say what's
globally.
and that was some of the issues when they refused Manny's. The same thing. Why did you refuse it? Because there's too many. That's not an excuse. Then what's too many?
Why do we have an ABC law?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some confusion about that. Why would you be on the board? I mean, some people say, "Oh well, because you know what? I don't think there should be any alcohol in Kahnawake, and I want us to put a stop to all of these, whatever." Okay, but that's not what it's about. I mean, there was already a prohibition before, and that didn't change whether people drank or not. This is about regulating the sale and production of alcohol.
And there's got to be some type of regulations, but like I said, a board can't be the same thing, judge and jury. They can't. Now, whether it's the Mohawk Council, whether it's the ABC, whether it's the Gaming Commission, no matter who it is, if there's consistencies in the law, you're there specifically as a policy and to the ABC is to look at regulations, and that's it. Leave the enforcement and everything to everybody else. But if there's a law that says no, don't go against that law, because by them going against the gaming law, they put them in that position.
By even accepting the
application at all, because it's in the same building. That's the hard part, which they shouldn't have. I don't think that they should have entertained it all. They should have just said, "I'm sorry, until that law is changed, I can't do anything about it." And that was Mike Bush's issue. When I spoke to him about it, I said, "If you don't put it in, we'll deal with it. If you put it in, it cuts out the ABC board, and there's nothing we can do." So like I said, I don't know 100% because I don't know if they changed that law. But if they did in the gaming, then then it's an issue. If they didn't, then they shouldn't have touched it in the beginning. Anyway, let's see how this comes out. I mean, it's already a dead issue. Some of the problems, I guess, is that now you have an arbitration board and making this overturning decisions of boards. Should that happen or shouldn't it happen? Or do you get rid of the board when it's a legal issue and go directly to court and let them do it? It's, we don't have much time left.
Well,
to get it
one
going.
of the things is that, number one, read the thing. I advise anybody to go ahead and read it if it's of interest to you, a concern. One of the things about it is that this arbitration panel is an outgrowth of the law itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
You know,
they're put
because-
together specifically.
But we do things so
to
many
address
different
that.
kinds of ways here that consistency is an issue. You have consistency of laws. You brought that out between the gaming law and this here. What do we do in terms of, in one law, what you do is you suspend the council or the decision-making body, as in the membership law. In another case, you overturn. There's nothing in, who enforces what?
Yeah, and that's who's the overseers and who's looking at it. We ran out of time.
Yeah,
Actually,
we're
not running
out
out
of
of time.
This is going to be a discussion around the tables of Ganawage.
And we're going to, we'll see how it goes for the next show. I mean, we're off for 2 weeks, but On the Record is coming. But if it's still an issue in 2 weeks when we come back, then
We'll
we'll
deal with it
address it
then.
again. I'm one of your hosts for Straight Talk, Michael Stock Sr. If you have any questions or comments surrounding this show or any other show, you can email us at mohawktv@hotmail.com or michaelstalksenior@hotmail.com or call us at 450-632-NEWS. That's 450-632-6397. Nyawa and Honegi Wai.
Onagawahi.